Hi, I'm BoredGamer. I hope you're doing well. Wearing a Half-Life 2 t-shirt. I think it's probably my favourite game of all time. Or at least one of. There's a few. I quite liked, on the indie front, and the sort of like RPG maker games, I quite liked To the Moon. That made me cry. I have a soul. That game made me feel alive. I hope everyone is doing well. Gone a bit weird. I was really excited to see some of my mates interested in Titanfall 2 and the North Star sort of update community thing that people have been doing to sort of save the Titanfall 2 community, and they've got their own. There's a load of servers and stuff now which are sort of mostly hacker free, and there's been great balance changes. Titanfall 2, one of my favourite games ever, so I'm going to be playing some of that in the future again. Yeah, so really looking forward to actually playing some games soon. And not just Star Citizen. I love Star Citizen. Star Citizen Bay. And that's what the channel's going to be. There are other games I play. I've been playing loads of Lost Ark recently, for example. Loads and loads of Lost Ark. Like, Lost Ark's probably the most addictive game I've ever played. It's Diablo 3 on all of the narcotics. And it's quite fun. And so I'm enjoying playing that. But anyway, hello. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope you are enjoying the run-up to Alpha 3.17. Some of you may be Evocati, and I hope you're enjoying the Evocati patch. Can't talk about the specifics of the Evocati patch. We can talk about Evocati in general, and sort of like what the process is, and what it's like to be a member. But I can't talk about the specifics of the patch that's currently being tested by Evocati, unfortunately, even if it has been leaked elsewhere. How am I today? I'm doing fine, thank you very much. I have realised that my body does not do very well if I expose it to carbohydrate. I went off my keto, which I'd been on for like six months or so. I went, I'll start to phase back in carbohydrate, and nom rice and bread and all delicious things, bacon sandwiches, yeah. But I do not do well. Like, I get pains. I feel sluggish. I feel tired. I get tubbier. So I'm gonna go for super low carb. I'm going super low carb. I'm not gonna go like be danger levels, but I'll probably do a keto on and off. And I'll tell you what's going on. As and when it might work well for me. Today's fish is Stratalaquem. Enjoy your meal. I do love Red Dwarf. So at the end of this month, not only are we expecting Alpha 3.17 to be sort of like an open PT or maybe even a live build if we're lucky, but it's also my birthday and Zin's birthday. Zin's a year and a day older than me. Yes, she's a year and a day older than me. And we're going to our mate's Hindu, or Stagette do, or whatever it is, that weekend. So we're sort of combining our birthdays and our mate's third stag do. It's that she hasn't been able to get married because of all the COVID stuff. So I think that's pretty lame, mate. But now it's just given us a load of reasons to have stag do's, and now we've got a wedding. I'll tell you. So this is how we start the streams. While people are coming in, I just sort of talk about my life. So if you come here for Star Citizen stuff, feel free to ask questions in chat. I'll come to them. Ask questions about whatever you want. As I said, I can't talk about the specifics of Evocati, all those leaks, but we can talk about other stuff. We talk about 3.17 in general. Jake Short, thank you very much for that resub. Very much appreciated. I happily accept birthday money and birthday subs. Oh, so I'm still looking for a venue up in Manchester for a Bar Citizen that I'm planning to run probably around the 18th of June. That could change, whatever. I found one, yeah, but they want me to give them £1,000. It's not for a deposit. They want me to prepay £1,000, which then gets complicated and messy. So I might look for either fundraising for it from donations, or getting a sponsor for it, or something like that. So So I know that there are potentially some sugar daddies that will go, yeah, no worries, bam. Or there's there's companies and stuff that might be like, yeah, great, we'd love to sponsor a little event. Or might be able to just work out a way of footing the bill ourselves if we can do something clever. Me and Zin don't earn all of the money in the world, but the money that we do earn from sort of Patreon and subs and all that sort of stuff, what's over our wages, will just go back into the company for hardware and to make better stuff. And the idea of a big bar citizen up in Manchester is to attract a load of devs and content creators and stuff like that to come down so that we can then have some good stories to talk about, celebrate Star Citizen, have a bit of a networking and meet and greet and stuff, but also it's going to give me content and ideas for videos, which is very useful. It's not my birthday yet, but it is soon. I mean, it's a couple of weeks, but I'll take it. Thank you very much. I appreciate the happy birthdays. Thank you. Very much appreciated. What do you find interesting about Lost Ark? As I can't find myself getting into it. However, I'm only level 24, and I keep getting nagged to play it by a mate. So if you're not enjoying it, or it's not got the catch for you, then it's probably best that you don't play. So it's a big time sink as a game, and for me, it was sort of like it's got all of the love and the care of Diablo 3, super refined, all of the bad points taken out. There's a huge amount of sort of like party games and silly islands and lots of stuff to explore. It's a nicely fully built, the most fully built MMO and sort of RPG experience I've played in potentially ever. And that's comparing it to things like WoW. It's just a really, really good version of those sort of JRPG looter slasher hack and slashers. I just really enjoy it. But I'm playing with a load of my friends. There's a lot you do solo, and there's a lot you do with randoms, and there's a huge amount you can do with your friends. So, unfortunately, I do not have an only ships account or anything like that. But yeah, I really enjoy Lost Ark. If you enjoyed that sort of like hack and slash and power building your characters and then grinding, then you'll really like this. If you're not into that sort of stuff, you won't. Yeah, sorry I was a little bit late, a couple of minutes late. I was making a cup of tea, and I started making a chili downstairs as well. So I've got a chili boiling away. Hopefully it won't be burnt by the time I check on it. I'm pretty good at not breaking NDAs. Say that. Yes, able to catch you live during work. Travel the map. Thank you very much. I appreciate the sec. I hope everyone is doing well wherever they are in the world at the moment. I know it's pretty anxious times for some people. So, yeah, other games that I've sort of previously loved or really like, original Titanfall as well. Red Alert, Command & Conquer Generals. When do we expect to see PTU to go to first wave? So basically, first wave will include subscribers and concierge. So first wave you could have as early as the weekend. Cyber Spooky. So Keto, for 5 years you say you've been. Has that had any bad effects or knock-on effects? Like, I've heard that long-term keto can sometimes be unhealthy, but I mean, there's not huge amounts of studies that I've dug through. So, I haven't had much luck with finding probiotics that have worked for me. PCDM. Apologies if the music gets too loud at points. I'm not very good at regulating it. 3.17 feels rather empty, you say. I disagree. Not sure if you're an Evo or not. And obviously I can't talk about the specifics of 3.17, what's being tested there. But 3.17 does contain a reasonable amount of content. It is... I mean, I know that one of my more minor things, but it's like major tech, but minor actual game experience. That river is got me relatively hyped to actually do some content on and talk about that sort of stuff. But ship refueling, it's a big tech, small amount of gameplay to start with, although it's some more interesting stuff. Really, looting and selling is going to be relatively big. There might be a few other little bits in there as well. There's a load of new sort of areas and environment stuff. So it depends on, can Cloud Imperium fill it with some interesting new missions or events as part of the 3.17 cycle? Because they don't need to have, bam, oh, there's a huge amount of new content with 3.17. It can be, well, actually, as part of the 3.17 patch cycle, we've got a couple of new events. Fleet Week's going to be one of them, obviously. I'm really looking forward to that in May. But there's other stuff they could do as well. They could have other Xenothreat-like events. What are your thoughts on the Gen 12 renderer, and when do you think we will see it? So Gen 12 renderer has actually been coming into the game for the last couple of patches, and with little updates and tweaks, and they're sort of ploughing towards going to Vulkan integration as well. So over the next maybe 2-3 patches, you're going to see more and more integration, and you'll see something more major probably by the end of the year. What's it like being an Eva Kali member? Slightly stressful. Around this sort of period, it's sort of like, I worry about accidentally saying something I shouldn't. It's annoying because there's loads of content I want to make but can't make, and I'm hyped for that and focused on that. So that then sort of makes my other content I could potentially be doing suffer, because I'm just sort of waiting to do stuff. Sort of like it's a weird... I probably need to work out a better mindset of what do I do when I'm waiting for a major patch but can't create content on it. So hopefully I'm just going, wham, let's hope that the Open P2 start this weekend sort of thing. So Invictus Fleet Week is towards the end of May, sort of mid to late May. Alien Week is then a week or two after that. We don't have exact dates. Hey Board, has CIG indicated on the persistent universe will it be one massive server or 3 big servers divided by regions? So, in the midterm, expect region-based servers. Beyond that, and in the future of what can they do with dynamic server meshing, we don't know, they don't know. So the goal would be everyone on the same server if possible, if sensible. One mega super stitch server. But it might become apparent that, you know, it's better to have regional based servers for a variety of different reasons, but you'll still be able to move between them. And they've got sort of elements coming in that help support whatever they want to do with sharding, and moving towards static server meshing, moving towards dynamic server meshing, and then moving towards the end goal, whatever that may be. Been watching you for a while, got into Star Citizen a few months ago, and your videos have been infinitely useful. Thanks for the great content. Thank you very much. That's very kind. I appreciate the kind words. Do you think Cloud Imperium will have issues with employees and potential employees not wanting to go back to the office because of the new growing culture of working from home? Yes, more and more. I think that is exactly a problem that Cloud Imperium are going to have. They have an issue now with current employees, almost certainly, I don't know for sure, that some employees are going to want to work from home. Now, they'll probably be relatively malleable, but they do want them to work from the office. And obviously, new employees they get, a lot of them are going to want to work from home if possible. Now, there's a balance to be struck with this, I think. Cloud Imperium obviously getting a massive office in Manchester, updating and getting bigger offices in Frankfurt as well, expanding studios in Canada with the Montreal Turbulent Studio, things like that. They're going to want these people to come into the office, to share ideas, to be in that creative juiced experience, and to be on these like high-tech campuses. Yeah, so I do think that a lot of people do prefer to work from home now. I know I do, but I was working from home well before COVID. So, Random Roger, I know I ask this all the time, but when are they going to finally give us some more org tools? Ship sharing, treasury, orgs, alliance, etc. Yes, I think that's one of the major pillars they mentioned a few years ago. It's still a major pillar that needs to be addressed today. Beyond that, just better UI, organization abilities, seeing what org people are at a glance, stuff like that. Just better organization of people within orgs and playing the game. I want to be able to share ships easily. I want to be able to group up really easily. I want to have all these billions of org features, or at least dozens of org features, that we would expect to have in an MMO. And to me, it doesn't look too hard to put them in. But we don't know where they are on Cloud Imperium's priorities at the moment. So I totally agree with you that it's important. I will poke CIG about it somewhat. What inactive ship feature are you most looking forward to? Salvage in the shortest term. Because obviously getting it with 3.18, a lot of cool stuff there. And then hopefully it will expand into more salvage, because I've got a reclaimer quickly thereafter. Ship scale tractor beams are going to be pretty fun and cool. Base building is something I'm super looking forward to. Thoughts on why we haven't had anything about the Aaron Halo in a while? I know they've been working on some of it. Obviously, some of the stuff they're working on for Pyro with the gates in Pyro and points of interest and choke points and gas clouds and loads and loads of environmental stuff is also going to be used in the Stanton system to some degree. I expect them to start talking about the Aaron Halo more after Pyro and Nyx are done. Yes, what about the Scorpius? Why has there not been anything said about that ship? So, in a video that will be going out pretty quickly after this, I talk about 3.17 and hopefully all those sort of features in 3.17 will make it. The only two that I was worried about were the Hull A and the Scorpius. Obviously, we saw the Hull A recently inside Star Citizen and it looked pretty complete, and Clan PM seemed pretty happy about it. The Scorpius is the only thing that I'm worried about as a 3.17 feature that might not make it. So that's one of the reasons that maybe they're not talking about the Scorpius. Maybe we'll see a bit of it in inside Star Citizen this week. Obviously, we've got the roadmap update tomorrow as well. Yeah, CNC General's amazing. Amazing game. See, I preferred the original Generals rather than the expansion 0 hour, but do we know when? I literally talked about that earlier. What's the capacity of the Hull A? Don't know until live. Yeah? Because it might get tweaked. Even if when you've got it in the open PTU, it might get tweaked. So, and the 3.17 implementation of the Hull A is not the finished one. In 3.18 and a bit beyond, it's going to get more of its cargo features and be able to attach those cargo containers to the outside, which will change it somewhat. Any idea when we can expect the Corsair? So, as far as I'm aware, the Corsair is in active development now. Bear with me 1 second. I think that's public knowledge. Yes, it is. Good. Q3 2022 is when the current set of work, including work from the vehicle experience team, is scheduled to be completed. So, if that all goes well, and that clears up a lot of the stuff they need to get done, it could be a Q4 release, but we don't know how much more work will need to be done. What else have we got? Oh. Does Ark have giant sandworms? Yes, it actually does. Lost Ark. Yeah. What sort of potential emergent gameplay are you gassed for with the addition of future gameplay mechanics? With love from us. Actually, so the Mercury Star Runner is my favourite ship. Yeah. So really looking forward to data running for it. Just because I think that actually expands out the game a lot more to do a lot more stuff. Yeah, as I said, base building, super excited for. The expansion of salvage to more salvage to be able to crush cubes of ships down. With the ever-increasing realism in terms of physics, will bald characters have the edge in bike races due to lower drag coefficient? Nice. You'd be wearing a helmet normally, won't you? Perhaps like Linus's video, you should get Zin to make an ad promoting only ships with content like ASMR, quiet ship sounds. Would say the next bit, but I got auto-modded. Love you guys. Thanks, Exodus. Appreciate it. I mean, I don't want to... I mean, the channel's pretty on the edge with how saucy and hot it is with me here, right? Not sure if I need to push that any further. With the Hull A being flyable soon, do you think the Gatak Rylan is far behind? Yes, I do. I think the Gatak Rylan is far behind. It's quite complex as a ship. There's a lot going on with it. I don't think it's a focus. How much do you think CIG needs Pyro and Squadron 42 release as a PR win? I think they do pretty well even when they have bad PR. They need Squadron 42 to be a good game when it's released, because that will not only give them the forgiveness of anyone that's been sort of slighted and annoyed for the most part, but also bring the game much more mainstream, and people will go, oh wow, if this is a great game, they're doing what they said. So I think that will mainstream Star Citizen and be like amazing. So it just needs the Squadron 42 when it is eventually released within the next, 1 to 3 years. It's going to be a great game. Now, Pyro, it is needed because we've been waiting on it so long, and it feels like we're just waiting on it. Do you know what I mean? Even other content, even if we had loads of other content added, we'd feel like we're still waiting on Pyro. So hopefully we'll see it by the end of the year, and if not, by the middle of next year at the sort of latest. It's not just the addition of Pyro. We need all that extra content and gameplay and all those features that Pyro will bring. Super important. Will looting and selling stuff in 3.17 include the ability to sell all that fruit that we can loot? It will expand out the things you can sell to lots of things. I don't know the full list of what it will include yet. Do you ever hear from Chris Roberts directly on the work you do for your channel? Only when I've seen him at events like CitizenCon and Bar Citizens and things. So I've obviously last time I saw Chris was in 2019. Actually talked to him a couple of times. He was very aware of who I was, which was nice. And again, I think that's the last time I saw Aaron. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to an office tour this year, which I'll start poking CIG about properly when they start move to their new studio. Because hopefully I'll get to see Aaron and Chris. That'd be amazing. But with 3.17 bringing the ability to sell loot, do you think CIG will tweak and reduce mission rewards to balance the economy? I think there will be some economy balance, but not a huge amount yet. There'll be a little tiny bit, and then they'll balance a lot more in a 3.17.1 or 3.18 patch. So have you seen the new River then? Why did you get so excited, or you're not allowed to tell? Well, I mean, I like Rivers as tech, and it was a lot sooner than I was expecting it. Obviously, it was fully shown on an Inside Star Citizen, which I'll show a little bit of now, I suppose. That's probably a good idea, right? You might see a beautiful man as well that works at CIG. But they're not fully organically refined yet. So some of the edges you see here are quite jagged. I'd like them a little bit sort of smoother, and sort of the terrain blending and water blending will improve significantly over time. Look at this beautiful boy. But one river on microtext, but we're getting in 3.17. But it's a hugely important step. And they'll get a lot more refined from that. See there, it looks a lot more curved and organic than it does actually when it's fully rendered, because then it looks a bit more jagged. There are going to be new animations for walking into the water, but you'll be able to walk into the water in 3.17 as well. You'll be able to use hover bikes over the water too. You can see that here. There'll be a bit to explore underwater, sort of, even if it's just sort of classic sandbox. There's lots of resources and things to find around rivers as well. But yeah, I'm pretty excited for a lot of the cool stuff in those rivers. Is Pyro going to get new mining materials that could be more profitable than Quantanium? Potentially, yes. So there's definitely going to be changes in distribution of stuff, and expect a lot more in the way of commodities and minables and things in the future. I'm doing a documentary for my final project at college. I was wondering what Star Citizen is for you. What? What do you even mean by that? What is it for me? You need to give me a bit more definition of exactly what that question is. Because I could answer that in a billion different ways. Hi, Bod. With the latest discussion on PvP gameplay, could CIG be contemplating to do a 95% safe system after Pyro and Nyx to contrast? So, I would expect there to be systems like that. Then there'd be 99% safe, hugely safe systems. Like Terra and Sol and a load of the UE systems are going to be hugely safe. And mostly PvE or... Right, actually, that's an interesting one as well. And what do you mean by safe? Because I think there's going to be a lot that are PvE orientated, hugely PvE orientated. There will be some that are very safe and have very few combat encounters. But PvP and PvP, you could have a hugely unsafe, but only PvE area or mostly PvE area. Do you see what I mean? But I do think the game obviously needs a huge contrast of both. And I do think people need to be fully aware of what type of system they're going into and what gameplay that provides them. And that needs to be quite clear so that everyone sort of knows what they're getting into. Do you know what I mean? Have you ever thought about doing a podcast with Sandy Roberts as a guest, seeing she does a lot for CIG too? So I think it's probably quite hard to get hold of Sandy. I'll try. I know obviously she used to do a load of stuff with Batgirl and... she's obviously given interviews to other people as well in the past. But her and Chris have become quite elusive. So, maybe. When you do Recon, Star Citizen will be a mainstream game. What? When you do Recon, will Star Citizen... I'm so confused by that question, Ice Skulls. Feel free to re-ask it in a way that my brain may process it better. Obviously, apologies if anyone's asked a question and I just don't understand it. I will say it's not. I'm not calling you out for being like, you are dumb for bad question. I'm saying I can't process that with my limited understanding of words. When do I reckon Star Citizen will be mainstream? After Squadron 42. So I don't think Star Citizen needs to be released, or even in beta, to be seen much more mainstream. It needs a god. It needs a good... We need a Star Citizen god! It's a good Squadron 42 release. If that's a great game, then people are going to start seeing Star Citizen as mainstream. I've got it, Ice Girl. Sorry, apologies. I'm quite badly dyslexic, so I'm fine with notes. I can elaborate on stuff and talk for ages. Blah, 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 blah. I can recall stuff in my brain and sort of think about stuff as I talk pretty easily. If I have to read something directly, I struggle with that. If I have to read a word or a name I've never read before, that is near impossible to me. So I will see, like, Judge Conan. So that took me a while to say your name. There's some in here I just can't say because I can't work out how. Chaos Quali. Qual. I can't even put the letters together properly because my brain hasn't seen the word or the name before. So that's why I have so much trouble with people's names. Someone is someone coming to my channel to promote hate? Wow. Right. Well. Appreciated for the weird, odd raid thing. Thank you very much, Jaybird, for dealing with that. I've not had those before. Not seen them on my channel. Thank you for reacting to them. What a weird thing. I don't have to, okay. They're all permabanned. How odd. Thank you very much for dealing with that. I pretty much found it appreciated. There's a group of them. Huh. Yeah, appreciated for the if anyone's got people they want me to interview and they've got hookups for that, or sort of suggestions, and you're like, oh yeah, I know this person, CIG dev, ex dev, someone that's a game dev that wants to talk about Star Citizen, whatever, and feel free to contact me about it. Feel free to say, bam, let's get something like that sorted. I've not really seen spam bots like that before. It's weird. Apologies for that. Anyone that was negatively affected. People talking in chat. The Hulley is a big ship, but are you going to be able to run it alone? You are, but you're probably not going to want to. So the problem with the larger ships in Star Citizen is that engineers are going to be needed to repair them as things get bust on them. So there are going to be times that power relays go or whatever. If you get attacked, are you going to be able to appropriately damage control and get out of the area easily? If you get boarded, how are you going to deal with that? So some of these ships could technically be run by a single person. However, there's a lot of problems that you could encounter because of that. Will the Reclaimer be able to do salvage soon too? We don't know. So because salvage is coming in game in 3.18, expect it to get a load of work over the next year or two. So, I mean, it seems to me that it would be a relatively big focus. Obviously, Cloud Imperium are also working on ship-scale tractor beams at the moment and seem to want to get them into game ASAP, which is going to be a big help for stuff like that for the Reclaimer, because it needs to draw lootables, draw those delicious metally chunks towards it, and then non them up. So I'm expecting it to get its salvage gameplay in the not too distant future. Is there any view around NPC cargo ships running cargo at cities? Locations. Obviously, with the cargo refactor, NPC life around cargo. So, yeah, there will be NPCs moving around cargo convoys, doing their own thing, and you'll see them during encounters, you'll see them at landing zones, and they sort of have a bit of a life, and then may get despawned based on their importance. Are they part... Because there's the whole probability volumes and the quanta system going on, so these NPCs that you see sort of do have a life, and will be generated physically when needed. So you could eventually follow one out of a city and actually like follow them along their journey is the idea, and loot them if you wanted, or protect them. But in the shorter term, I think we'll see busier cities and sort of AI moving around places, but it not fully tracked like they want in the quanta system. That's my expectation. Any idea, speculation on when the Apollo might be in the game? When do you think we'll see any expanded medical missions like aiding NPCs? I think we're going to see expanded medical gameplay soon. I think it's being worked on still. I know it's sort of being worked on still. They've talked about missions where we'll be rescuing NPCs, and we'll have NPC buddies, And I think that sort of stuff is coming pretty soon. I mean, we've got the 890 jump mission, but they want to expand out as well and like improve. So ETA for Wave 1 PTU 3.17 as early as this weekend. Is we can say we don't know. Will we be able to harvest fuel, or we have to buy fuel then resell for profit, of course. So I believe the Starfarer will still be able to harvest fuel and then refine it to some degree. But it might not be able to harvest quantum fuel. It might only be able to harvest hydrogen fuel. We'll have to see. Are they going to be updating the interior of the Starfarer with the 3.17 patch? I'm expecting some updates over the next couple of patches to the Starfarer, but exactly what, I don't know. Obviously, we know that obviously getting its fuel arm, it will be functional. It's getting a UI on the back of the ship, on the gantry sort of walkway area, that you'll be able to do stuff with that fuel and pump it and all that sort of jazz. Parachutes, smoke grenades, and drop shields could really make Jump Town better for me. What do you think? So gadgets are going to be a thing. They did want holograms, and they did want droppable shields. Smoke grenades are almost certainly going to be a thing. Parachutes, there'll be ways of ejecting in atmosphere and surviving. Parachutes make sense, but they could have other things. We don't know where they are in the pipeline, any of that, though. What current in-game prop item would you actually like to see work, and why is it the arcade machine? Arcade machine's pretty high up in there. I would really like to see one of those little coin pushers. Oh, that'd be good. Jinko machine, coin pusher, something like that. Thanks for your response about servers, much appreciated. I was also wondering if you think we will see the Misk Odyssey released before Polaris. I think almost certainly we'll see the Polaris first. It sounded like to me, like last time Cloud Imperium talked about the Polaris, it was, well, a little while ago, they said about the Polaris, Banu Merchantman or Polaris, maybe the Polaris is going to come out first. Now, it looks like they're working a huge amount on the Banu Merchantman, with it already going through its grey box phase. And it's very much into its grey box phase now, the Banu Merchantman. Polaris, expect to hear some more in the coming months. Do we know anything about the drones in the Carrack? Not really at the moment. They're going to aid exploration. Will we be able to harvest fuel, or will we have to buy fuel? That's what we talked about earlier. One thing I'd like to know about Microtech is the ability to land and go straight to the commons instead of messing with the spaceport. Will areas like that be implemented to other landing zones? Good question. I think there are improved transit around cities, but I don't know to what extent. They want to make transit and time to get places, moving around, all part of the game, and an enjoyable part of the game experience. They don't want to make it overly long or overly fiddly. So, I do think there's a balance there. Hello, sir. Great work. Keep it up. What's the situation on land claims, if any? They have not talked about land claims for a while. I occasionally talk about them. There's a video I've done relatively recently talking about base building and land claims. Please check that out on my channel. Hope you're doing well, Floorboard, by the way. I have mine on buyback, but do you think they'll sell more after the outrage? Okay, I don't think that land claims are going to be particularly valuable. As in, they're important. I think you'll be able to get them in-game pretty easily for the areas that you need them in. And a lot of places where you're going to be building a base, you won't need a land claim anyway, because they'll be in the more Wild West areas. Because you're only going to need land claims in UEE zones. What are your thoughts on broken outposts? And do you know the fix? I'm expecting a lot of stuff to be fixed in 3.17. What venue we think about for the June Bar Citizen? It's a CIG person. I hope you're doing well, sir. So I can. There was 4 places. At the moment, it was one of the Revolution Loft Bars. Revolution Loft Bar was the... So I'm still open to finding other places. Trying to find its actual name of the place that I'm currently working out. Revolution Oxford Road in Manchester is where I'm currently thinking of doing it. Looking forward to farming gameplay. Is there any gameplay announcement in regard to the greenhouses we saw last week? So they're sort of been building out these gardens and that sort of stuff. Lots of parts of modular sort of environments and areas and parts of these sort of new outposts and villages and things that we might see in game. And they're going to continue to build those asset libraries and those modular pieces, and that's going to be used to generate huge amounts of outposts and things in the future, and lots of variants. So will this also form part of base building and gameplay and farming and things like that? Well, sort of moving towards that, at least steps towards it. Even if these assets aren't directly related, they're, you know... Hey Bored, I love the Mercury Star Runner, a fair ship I saved and bought in game. I was wondering if there's any way of knowing when it exactly will go on sale in real life. What? No, it was recently, but missed it. No. So you might see it at Fleet Week, so at the end of May. You'll definitely see it in the November sales, and it will be on sale a few times in between those two. But you will just be able to buy it in game again, and eventually there will be no... there'll be no more resets ever, so you'll be able to buy it in-game, just done. What else have we got? Can you tell us where the Wither will be on Microtech? I can't tell you that specifically. There's only one. It'll be easy to find on Planet. It'll be easy to find on Planet. Oh, what else have we got? No worries, Kuda. So that might change where that venue is, but that's the one I'm looking at the moment. It was appropriate for my needs. They actually got back to me, and they actually have the space available. Have you played Elden Ring? I've watched some stuff on Elden Ring. I'm too fearful of games that are occasionally too harsh, like Elden Ring. And I love co-op games more than anything. So I'm all about the co-op. In what sort of stage do you think the Odyssey is in development now? White box, maybe? Will the Scorpio turret be controllable by the pilot? So, it's supposed to be a 2-person ship, so the co-pilot's supposed to have control of the gun. It's possible that that turret will be sleevable to the pilot in the future. Possible. Do you think Chris's kids will be graduating college when the game is in beta? Nice. Will we be able to drag and drop multiple items in our inventory instead of one by one. There's going to be lots of improvements to the UI. Expect a lot of general optimization there, and a lot of ergonomics going on at some point. What would you prefer to have the first? What would you prefer to have first? Smoother frames, 60 plus, or new system? New system. New system. More content. More content, less polish. For me, anyway, because the more they progress with that, the better. They will have more content, and then eventually they go, bam, now we need to polish the game. Because otherwise, they'll keep on having to polish again and again and again and again. This is not really a question, more of a suggestion for content. While patches are in development, could you do a ship showcase diving into why players should use certain ships for gameplays? Yes, 100% we could do that. And it's one of the things that's actually on my list, and I've been sort of lazy about. I keep on waiting till the next patch to do it, because I'm like, oh, well, there'll be more for this. They'll be brought up to gold standard. There's actually more gameplay for them. Because I'm going to have to do a big one once we've got physicalized components for all the ships. Oh, that's really good to know. Thank you very much. Is Gwyn a appropriate title to call you? Going forward, we're going to try and be very conscious of color blindness, accessibility, especially in the UI department. That's really good to know. Because I have multiple colorblind friends. Any news on modular gameplay and when I can put my cargo bag in my tally? No additional sort of updates on modular gameplay at the moment. I am expecting to see it later this year, the start of it anyway. When do you expect persistent hangars to be implemented? Maybe 3.19. So I think they're going to want to get the cargo factor in. Obviously, they were pushed from 3.17. So I think maybe a 3.19 thing, maybe. I don't expect it to be not like full customizable hangars, but sort of it keeps tags of what you've got stored in that as a location. You can potentially buy more space, maybe a little bit of customization there. This game is selling the gaming industry to a new standard. The game is not ready, but has much more to offer than any other game. What gameplay are you looking forward to? All of it, but sort of salvage in the very short term, base building in the longer term, and the sort of things that I desperately want to do. Not a 3.17 question, but since they have showcased so much of the work on the Banner Merchantman, do you think we will get a Banner Merchantman within a year? I think we'll see a load more of it at the end of this year. It'll be quite far in its pipeline. I don't know. I don't know how much, how many resources Call Imperium are putting towards it, nor how long that ship's going to need. When will Linux get to be fly again? What? So Linux as an operating system will be more supported by CIG and Star Citizen in 3.17, it looks like, because I think they're tweaking some of the anti-cheat to work with it and that sort of stuff. Cuddy Red, now being the lowest tier of Medbay, what do you imagine will set the Cuddy Red apart from others like the Apollo? Well, the Cuddy Red is a small ambulance. It's supposed to be quick and be able to get into places that potentially the Apollo can't. They might work very well together because you're bringing patients to another area. So you'll be able to stabilize patients that are very, very badly injured. You'll be able to run it as a little tiny mobile clinic for people that aren't hugely injured. Going to be very useful. So you might not want to bring a Apollo along if you're doing an operation, if you're going attacking quickly, assaulting somewhere, but a Cutlass Red might be a great idea. When will the next wipe happen? We don't know for sure. Could be in 3.17, could be in 3.18, could be in 3.19. We don't know. It's less. I don't think it's hugely likely to see one in 3.17 though. Do you think the Nomad with its unique gear will be available to scoot across the ground like hovercrafts in the game? Yes, I think the Nomad will be able to hover and scoot along the ground. Eventually, yeah. Sort of, you can set its height. I like the idea of it. It's hover tech. Will the Harley stop being limited so I can CC you? No. I don't think it will stop being limited. I'm not sure if you'll be able to CC you up to a Hull E. Maybe at the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo or something like that, they might go, that's a special Warbond CCU. Any new info on the 600i gold standard changes? No, nothing new. Nothing new that I've heard. If CIG was accurate on the Banner Merchant tracker, what would your prediction be on its release? Even if it is accurate, the problem is that it might need to load more work beyond what it shows on the tracker. You see what I mean? So, if the stars align, I think early to mid 2023. I think that's a realistic, like, I hope. Do you know if ship components will be sellable back to shops? Eventually, yes. In 3.17, I don't believe so. But we'll have to wait and see exactly what they've got planned. Expect it to be more FPS and smaller items at this stage. What can I expect in 3.18? Salvage and cargo refactor being huge. There's going to be lots of other stuff as well, but those are the two major things. What is the most important gameplay you're looking forward to? Everything coming together. Genuinely, everything coming together and affecting each other. So, I suppose the dynamic universe sim portion of stuff is what I want for that. So, the Quanta system. I appreciate all the kind words. Thank you so much. How often do you test Neva Cardi? On and off. Not very much at the moment, because I've been sort of planning out the content. Some of the Cardi testers are in there a huge amount. Do you think the turret operations should be able to have basic flight controls to either fly if the pilot's killed or if the pilot is out of ship maneuver? That's a good point, isn't it? If you are in a gun turret and something happens to the pilot or they eject, what are you doing in the gun turret? That's a really interesting question. I don't know. Co-pilots, yes. If you're co-pilot in a co-pilot seat, I think you should be able to take control of the ship. Can we expect to see building blocks, ship UI updates? Obviously, all the ships are planned to get their own sort of, all the manufacturers are planned to get their own sort of semi-unique HUDs, and that's something they're working on at the moment. Do you think the Scorpius will have internal space? No, I do not believe so. Will the A2 be purchasable in-game? Yes, it will eventually. Yeah. Do you think they are working a lot on stuff in the background that will cause larger patches after server meshing? Yeah, but more because there's a huge amount of work going into Squadron 42 and related core features, and there's lots of stuff working on the background at the moment, including Pyro, including Nix, including base building, including dozens of other things that will all be closer to completion. And when do I think Pyro will be live? If we are super lucky. The stars align. End of the year. When do you think we will see bounty missions where we have to take bounties alive? They are getting near there, aren't they? They're getting pretty close there. I expect to see some more interactive NPCs on missions and buddies and people that can rescue, and then maybe the patch after that. Can I play in 1440p Ultra with a 3060 Ti and a Ryzen 50? Your 5800X is great as a processor. The 3060 Ti, you can probably play at 1440p. I'm just not sure what frame rate. Do you think the Connie Phoenix will be available? This is Stella Fortuna. Potentially. They like that ship as a green hull, don't they? Are you going to Citizen Con if it's not canned? Maybe. Is the answer to that. With Tier 0 salvage around the corner, do you expect any hints or back-end changes like longer wrecks after ship explosions? There needs to be some changes, isn't there? Obviously, how is hull stripping going to work? We don't 100% know yet. So, Bobby Yaga, thank you very much for the donation. Very much appreciated, sir. Keep up the great work. I will. Thank you. That's appreciated. Thank you. So, yes, with salvage in 3.18, what counts as a salvage site? Will it be all ships? Will it be placed ships? Will it be parts of placed ships? What's going to happen? So we don't know yet. And it's going to be hand-based salvage with hand tools, and the Vulture. Vulture's getting salvage as well, and going to be released in 3.18. The Reclaimer, a little bit later. And you say you're not sure about the next wipe. Does that mean complete wipe? We don't know. Yeah, complete wipe, partial wipe. We don't know any of them and when they're coming. I think it's less likely we'll see one in 3.17. Clan PM try not to wipe where they don't need to. Do I have any idea what they show us at this year's CitizenCon? More pyro, more nicks, load more gameplay features, probably more stuff on base building. I'll have more of an idea as we get into the second half of this year. Do you think the Hull C will come out with 3.18? I think we'll see the Hull C 3.18 or 3.19, yes. Any fixes for bunker and wreckage missions? I'm expecting a load of fixes for that for 3.17. Is CIG actively working on collision mechanics? So there's some physical damage and there's some collision stuff that they've been working on, but I don't know to what extent. Will cargo containers be something that we will load, or it will cost to load? Yes. So there's going to be time and cost associated with loading and unloading, and obviously sometimes it's going to be done with large-scale tractor beams. Sometimes it's going to be done by a station's facilities, and that's going to be coming sometime after the cargo effector. Should we expect salvage and cargo refactor to be released? This is what. Board, do you have any idea of what they are going to show us? Since I've talked about that, will FPS scanning, when FPS scanning is implemented, do you suspect stealth armor to be a thing? So, yes, I do think that there's going to be stealthier armor, yeah, and stealthier weapons, because audio is going to be one of the things you pick up with the FPS scanning. Decibels. Let that person know about the A2 if they are a subscriber to SC, they can purchase it now. But can they purchase a CCU now? I don't think they can. Is RSI... That was about the Hull E, wasn't it? So the A2, you're about to purchase... Yeah, you're about to purchase a CCU for the Hull E. The A2? I don't know. Oh, my brain's fried. Is RSI Spectrum still the first point of contact for organisations recruiting? Their website, their Discord, Spectrum, yeah. All of those. It depends on the org, I suppose. Do you think there are enough missions that pay enough that make you want to multi-crew? It's getting more worth than multi-crew, and multi-crew has become a lot better. When do you think the abandoned merchantman will be available? Early to mid next year, I think, is the sort of my hope. I don't think we'll see ship scale tractor beams in 3.18, but we might. I think it's going to be something else we see later this year, though. Do you think that with ship-to-ship refueling, we'll see a rework of fuel values? There does need to be one at some point, right? It does need to be a bit of an economy rebalance for them. We do know that Cloud Imperium have also been working on the some dynamic universe sim stuff, which is going to have the cost of repair and the cost of fuel factored into it and affect things. Physical armor is key to balancing ships, weapons and combat, ship stats and capabilities. So physical armor, yeah, so physical damage and physicalized components, yes, they are key to that. Any view where that falls in the track? It's being worked on now. I don't have any more information, really. I told a refinery the other day, thought to myself, this seems to be a ton of work with little use. Could there be save the refinery gameplay loops for another way to make use of it? So refineries, gameplay areas, lots of stuff that's empty in the game at the moment will be used in the future. There'll be a huge amount to do there. Tie into missions and things. Finally, have a PC that can run this game and planning on buying it soon. Would you recommend jumping in now after 3.17's release? See what 3.17's like and how well it's received. If you're fully aware of what Star Citizen is, in terms of it might be a really fun tourist experience to check out every 3 months and during events, rather than something to sit down and play with. And if you've got an org to play with, or a group to play with, yes, that's amazing. Jump in now. And if you haven't, maybe look for an org. With the new cargo effect coming in, is the freelancer worth holding on to, or should I go for Harley? Depends on your preference. Can you do some videos highlighting the different alien races and the cultures? Yes, and we've done a few before, but I can do it more. I will get Zin to look into some alien race culture. Do you think we'll be able to update things like medbeds in the ships that can handle them? I think there'll be some choices and things in the future. Obviously, some things like it's likely the Cutlass Red's going to be hard locked to a tier 3 bed. But could we get other ships and space in like a cargo bay and convert that to have some medical use or things like that? Maybe. There's a lot of things that Clan haven't talked about yet, really. Do you think that we will hear from Chris Roberts anytime soon? We haven't heard from him for a while. When do you think we hear something? I'm hoping that we start to see him once a quarter at least. I like seeing Chris regularly. He's one of the reasons that I was so hyped about the project. I sort of trust him. He's the main dude in this. So I want to see him more often if possible. More than just CitizenCon. Anything else? I'm sort of taking questions wherever I see them. Do you think when we see Apex Predators drop, we will see other less deadly creatures release as well? I think we'll see a few creatures coming to life over the next year or so. Things like the whale on Crusader, Microtech Yeti, Xiphopods, Pyro Crabs, things like that. I do think we'll start to see them. And around the same-ish time, maybe. What gives? Connie Taurus equals 6 scan resist. Same as Microstar. Connie Phoenix says entire cargo area is scan resistant. Oh, we'll have to see how that balances out in the future. I see what you mean. A lot of the stuff is we don't know. Anything else? Do you think later in game we could change to an alien instead of human? So a long time ago, Cloud Imperium said you might be able to play as an alien race in the future, but that will be after release. They'd add that sort of thing. So not in the short to mid term, no. Would the more peaceful creatures maybe come before the Apex Predators? Maybe. Depends. They might go on Microtech. They might go, you know what? Microtech Yeti. Deal with it. I, unfortunately, Smurts, can't talk about that specifically for the way that leak was obtained. But soon we'll be talking about things like that. The Boreal Stalker, Microtech Yeti, yes, indeed. Right. I am going to chuck you at someone else. Because I want to get a video out and eat my lunch, which is a chili that I've been making. So hopefully that will not be burnt. So let's find who else is around. So hopefully we're going to see 3.17 first wave PTO. I'm hoping we see it this weekend. So I think we'll see it as early as the weekend. So it's between this weekend and next weekend, really, isn't it? Realistically. There's a lot of cool stuff in 3.17. I'm hoping that it fixes a load of problems. I'm looking for someone. I'm just going to chuck you over to Salty Mike. I'm not sure what mood he's going to be in. He might be in a fantastic mood. You might be like, this guy loves Star Citizen. Or he might be in a bad mood. And he might be like, this guy hates Star Citizen. Salty Mike's one of the people that got me into doing Star Citizen content, though. But I love you guys. Loads. Thank you very much for watching. Actually, well, I mean, Do that. Bam, bam, bam. That's all sorted. That's all good. Feel free to go see Scullion if you want as well. I do love Scullion. Didn't realise he was streaming as well. Apologies. I do love the boy. I mean, there's so many quality content creators that you could view. But anyway, love you loads, guys. Thank you very much for joining me today. Thank you very much for people that donated some money. Thank you very much for my mods dealing with situations where people are spamming stuff. It's genuinely appreciated. I have played Half-Life Alyx. It is one of my favourite games. It's the best VR game available, full stop. Followed by Boneworks, but Alyx is just so refined and beautiful. Thank you very much for joining me today. I love you guys.